Hi YouTube friends, I'm Heidi Villegas with Healing Harvest Homestead, and today I'm getting ready here to make a mouthwash, an antibacterial mouthwash for my husband and myself, just because I like my herbal mouthwashes too. But he has been diagnosed with a bit of an infection in his mouth from the dentist, and he has another month to go before he can go back and take care of it. A lot of times you can handle infections and things with herbs. So the doctor had given him, or the dentist gave him a prescription for amoxicillin. And we have not taken any antibiotics, prescription drugs, over-the-counter drugs, nothing in over 10 years. Whenever we're prescribed something, like if we do have a need to go see a doctor, we generally come home, discuss what's going on, we turn to our herbs, and I end up making up some kind of an herbal preparation. So in this case, I'm going to make him a special mouthwash, and I'm just going to go ahead and use it as well because mine ran out. And here's my little bottle for my mouthwash that I've been using, and I'm going to share with you how to basically prepare this and use it. So what I have here are several tinctures. I have got Yarrow tincture, and I've got sage tincture. I have some spilanthes tincture. I have Echinacea angustifolia tincture, and I have Goldenseal tincture. There's another tincture that I wish I had for this, but I actually don't have it tinctured, and that's myrrh gum powder or myrrh gum. So I'm actually going to tincture this once I'm done making these, just so that I have it on hand. Myrrh is amazing for oral health, and it's one of my favorite herbal preparations to have on hand for oral health. I use myrrh gum powder in our homemade tooth powders, so that's why I've got the powder, and I just have not gotten around to tincturing it in quite some time. So there you go. If you want to find out what my tooth powder recipe is, you can go to this link up here in the top, and I'll link to that for you. It's a really good recipe. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I'm going to use a 1/4 cup measuring tool. I'm going to measure initially into this pint jar, and then I'm going to go ahead and funnel it into my bottle, and then I'm going to talk about how I'm also going to use the pint jar, because this is going to be my mouthwash bottle. I've been using this for years, and this is going to become my husband's for now with this special preparation, just because I want to be sure that he's diluting it properly. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a 1/4 cup of my Yarrow tincture. Yarrow, Latin name Achillea millefolium, is an amazing herb that I just love. It grows wild in our area here, but you can easily cultivate it. It's an herb that should be in every single apothecary, in my opinion. It's excellent for reducing fevers. It's very astringent, so it tightens and tones tissues, which would include your mouth tissue. It's really great for oral health. It's wonderful as an anti-inflammatory, and it's got many other uses. So I just love working with Yarrow for many different preparations, but it's definitely going into my mouthwash. Here is some sage tincture. I have the sage tincture. Also, it's a broad use herb, and I make sure that I never run out of my sage. This is excellent also for mouth care and throat care. It's very astringent as well, just as Yarrow is, and very, very tightening and toning. Really wonderful anytime you have wet, inflamed, hot conditions like, well, a sore throat or an infection in your mouth or canker sores or things like that. Sage is amazing. So there we go with the sage. All right, next up is spilanthes. I love working with spilanthes for mouth health too. Spilanthes has a numbing effect. In fact, there's chemicals that are similar in both Echinacea and spilanthes, only spilanthes has more of the powerful numbing quality. It's actually called the toothache plant, and Native Americans used it for toothaches and mouth care. So I'm going to go ahead and pour just under a 1/4 cup of my spilanthes because I'm almost out of my tincture here. And I'm going to have to get some more made up of that too. My spilanthes this year did really, really well. And I harvested and dried quite a lot of the flowers. They're really pretty flowers. They have a little yellow round portion that pokes up like a really big Q-tip and a little brown spot on top. So it's really a neat looking flower, even just to cultivate as a beautiful flower in your garden. All right, next up is my Echinacea angustifolia. Echinacea, as we all know, is one of those immune boosting herbs that can and should be taken prior, or if you just feel like you're getting a bad cold or a flu or some kind of an illness. Echinacea is also known as the coneflower. We grow it in our garden as well. The whole plant can be used from root to flower to seed, all of it. And it's exceptional, I believe, for mouth health and just keeping things healthy and good in your body and boosting your immune system if you're getting sick. So I really love Echinacea. Some people, actually, Echinacea went through like a heyday about, 15 years ago. Everybody was like, oh, you need to take your Echinacea every single day. It'll keep you well. The fact of the matter is, Echinacea should not be taken on a daily basis. Just not a good idea. And this is where herbs kind of get a bad rap because the general public gets a hold of a little factoid and all of a sudden we have like the super herb of the decade. Back in the 90s it was St. John's wort, then it became Echinacea. Anyway, we just go through these elderberry. We're coming out of the elderberry trend right now. And yes, they are very, very wonderful, but you do know how to use them appropriately, and they're not like drugs. And these days, in many pharmacies, they're actually being sold like drugs. So this last tincture is Goldenseal, and you can actually see the gold residue on the side of the jar. That color is from the chemical berberines, which is the reason why I'm using Goldenseal in this formula. Very, very beautiful, wonderful tincture. So Goldenseal is very antibacterial. It's especially for topical use. If it can get into if you have a stomach ulcer or an infection in your gastrointestinal tract, it's a wonderful tincture to take. It's wonderful for mouth health. It's really exceptional in terms of just general antibacterial use. It's not a systemic antibacterial, but in terms of topical and also helping with the respiratory issues and things like that, it's really nice. It's an internally used herb. In this case, of course, we're making a mouthwash, so this is not going to be for internal use. I'm counting on the fact that this Goldenseal, which is also a drying, tightening herb, and has wonderful antibacterial powers, is going to get into my husband's mouth and really help with that infection. Okay, so now I've got my mixture. I'm going to just reach in here and give this a good little stir. Make sure all the tinctures are stirred up. Now, I have done this in the past, and I may or may not do this later on with this tincture, but sometimes I'll add in certain essential oils that I know are going to compound the effects of the herbs. One of the essential oils I love to use is Yarrow. Yarrow essential oil is rather expensive, but it really can power up this tincture. The thing is that if you're using essential oils in a base like this that contains water, especially, you're going to have to remember to shake it up. I'm very good at remembering this. My husband, not so much sometimes. So I'm going to just, probably leave it out of his, perhaps add it to mine, maybe, maybe not. Myrrh essential oil is another one you could add into this too, which would be helpful, especially since I don't have the myrrh tincture. So I've got a tiny funnel here, and I am just pouring my tincture into it and making a little bit of a mess because pint jars are not good for pouring. I'm going to go ahead and use my little scoop here. And I'm going to pour about half of this into my glass bottle. Okay. when you're using a funnel with a bottle that has a narrow bid, it's a good idea to make sure you can get a little air in there between the funnel and the side, because that just makes sure the liquid doesn't make a mess, or as much of a mess. Alrighty, so what I've got here is, this is approximately a half a cup would be halfway up. So this is just under a half a cup, probably close to a 2/3 of a cup. If I have 25% alcohol in my tincture, it is preserved. So I am actually going to add a little bit of distilled water to this, and this is going to be my mouthwash. And I'm very, very likely actually to even take another additional swallow of water. Okay, so I'm just going to put my water up to just under the shoulder. And now I've got this wonderful mouthwash that's all ready to be used. It's going to really clean my mouth and keep things tight and toned. My husband's is going to stay in this pint jar. Most of these tinctures have been made with 80 proof alcohol. And again, I want to be sure that I've got at least 25% alcohol in here. So that's 40 proof. So therefore, I'm going to add just a bit of water. I'm not going to match it up exactly. And now this is his wash. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and put a lid on this and put this in his bathroom and tell him how to use it. Make sure he uses it. And hopefully we'll have some very, very good results when he goes back to the dentist in January. Hopefully it won't, the procedure, whatever he has to have, hopefully it won't be as bad as we hope. And I just want to say here, I am not a medical doctor. I am an herbalist. I'm also an aromatherapist. I'm trained in both areas. I work with clients, but I am not a medical doctor. So in no way, shape, or form is any of this meant to be a diagnosis, cure, prevention, or treatment for any illness or disease. This is for information only, and it's how we live our lives. We live in a very self-sufficient life between growing our food, growing our own medicine, making our own medicine, all of it. And I love living this way. So I hope you enjoyed this video on how to make an antibacterial mouthwash, and perhaps you'd like to give it a try. If you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments below. By the way, I do have some free gifts for you, which you can find in the description. I'll also link to my herbal remedy guide, which is right up here if you want to grab that. I also have a guide to herbal steams, which seriously, we're in winter time right now. Everybody should know how to do a safe, effective herbal steam if you have respiratory issues or sinus issues, because those steams are one of the best ways that you can quickly handle getting rid of congestion and things like that. I know that's a completely different topic, but I just want to help everybody. So I hope this was helpful for you. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm Heidi Villegas, again, with Healing Harvest Homestead. Visit my website. I've got hundreds of articles over there, hundreds of them, on preparedness and homesteading and mostly herbalism. And I hope you enjoy. Thanks a lot. Please subscribe. And I love you guys. Bye-bye.